Welcome to the flip side of adversity. I'm your host, Dr. Virdra Jackson, and today's conversation is one every woman needs to be able to hear. How many of us know what it feels like to juggle the world? Absolutely everything, whether it is your emotions, your family, or expectations, and you feel like you're walking a tightrope, praying that you don't fall. Well, our guest tonight, Blondell Reynolds-Brown, has lived that journey at the highest levels, from the halls of Philadelphia City Council to the kitchen table as a single mom. In her new book, Walking a Tightrope Backward in High Heels, she pulls back the curtain on what it really costs to break barriers, to weather the storms, and still show up with full, yes, moxie and grace. So I've been waiting for this conversation for weeks. And sis, it isn't just her story, it's actually our story. So let's stay connected, stay tuned, tap or tag a sis, because we're getting ready to talk about how do you walk the tightrope and you feel like you might be walking backwards and you've got the stress of high heels, but you do it with moxie and you do it with grace. Let's do this together on the flip side. Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. I'm so excited about this conversation. There are some women in your life that when you meet them, just the way that they live their life, it inspires you. It challenges you to stand taller, to reach for and to lean into things that are hard, because they remind you that hard things don't conquer you, you conquer them. And this woman this evening is that representation for me. And I'm so excited that she said yes. So let me just tell you a little bit about, I cannot do her bio justice, but she's going to share from her heart. So let me give you just a little bit about Blondell Reynolds-Brown is a trailblazing public servant whose 20-year tenure as a Philadelphia City Councilwoman at large left a legacy of transformative legislation advancing women, children, families, and marginalized communities. She is a fierceful force for advocacy for equity. She is a champion for women's leadership, environmental justice, and she creates opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses. And she continues to shape public policy while mentoring the next generation of leaders through her signature initiative, the celebration of Moxie Women. And now I get to finally say, weeks in the waiting, welcome to the flip side of adversity, Blondell Reynolds-Brown.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. This is long waiting.
Yeah.
But deeply, deeply encouraging. It's more than anything else.
Mm.
It's a reminder that if you just do the work,
Yes.
do the work consistently but excellently, you can have peace in knowing that the work was well done.
Yeah. Well, she just gave us a whole word in the hello, y'all. that was just the hello. So if you didn't, you already know. Let me get paper and pencil because she's getting ready to share her wisdom of lived experiences that have shaped your life, but more importantly, have shaped the lives of so many other people. And you've written this book.
Yep.
And this book, just from the title, shows the power and intrigue behind your story. So walking a tightrope backward in high heels. I love the title. So what does that image actually symbolize for you in connection to your journey?
Yes. The key word you used was intrigue. And that was one of my intentions in writing my story. But to your question, the backstory you should know is I love dance. And when I was in elementary and middle school, I was a huge fan of Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. And for those of us who watch those black and white films, Fred Astaire always danced forwards in flat shoes, and Ginger Rogers always danced backwards in high heels. And that's a feat. That is a feat in and of itself. But beyond that, I went back and doing the research and preparation for my book. I kept my at least 10 years of files when I decided to write my story. I discovered that I first used that phrase in 2006 in an article that was written by a Philadelphia Inquirer reporter. He was asking me about the work of a councilwoman as an at-large member, because at-large meant that I represent the entire city of Philadelphia. And I said to him very cavalierly, it's like a woman walking on a tightrope backwards all the time when you run citywide. And it stuck. It stuck. And so from that point forward, whenever I spoke to women, particularly working women who were mothers, I reminded them that every day we get up, we are trying to find that delicate balance between our ambition and the care for our loved ones. And so it's at times that tightrope walk is unsteady, and at times it's uncertain. But we need not get up on a tightrope if we are not willing to be challenged by finding our balance day in and day out.
I almost feel like being able to say that out loud, especially to women. And what year was the first time that you
2006.
2006. And
Yes.
here we are at 2025. And unfortunately, that is still so very true.
Absolutely,
for
yes.
women in spaces.
Absolutely, yes.
And when I think about being able to say that out loud, in some respects, it's disappointing that it still is that kind of a dance and pressure, but it also, for me, feels like it's a relief for some, because we realize that the stress that I'm feeling is not that I'm not enough or that I'm failing. It's that what I'm doing is difficult.
Yes.
And Blondell Reynolds-Brown says that she's doing it. So it's okay that I'm doing
Absolutely,
it. That I'm experiencing
and
it.
we're not alone. We are not alone in that choice, because here's what we know for sure. We don't, when we decide to go into non-traditional workspaces or traditional workspaces, life doesn't give us any guarantees as to what we'll have. And life doesn't offer us any promises for what we want. But what life does offer us are choices and chances. So we get the choice on whether or not we want to take the chance to work in those non-traditional spaces. And when we decide to do that, we should not complain. because we made a choice to work in those non-traditional spaces. And so the reality is that we're not alone. And, praise God, there's so many who before us that we have observed from the sidelines or read about in the magazines or watched on the big screen. And it sends us an affirmation that if you see it, you can be it. That's the long and short of it. If you see it, you can be it. The question becomes, are we willing to do the work? Are we willing to put the time in? Because time is a commodity and it's not free.
No.
And so, again, we have to make the choice if we want to have a dream, but then we have to decide if we're willing to pay the price.
Yes.
That's if we're willing to pay the price to make those dreams come true.
And I don't always think that people realize that there will be a cost. And sometimes when the big dream or the opportunity presents itself, you're like, oh, wow. And then you're like, oh, wow.
Yes, precisely. You're now given a chance. So are you going to do it at the end of each chapter in my book? I use the expression carpe diem, seize the moment. So the question becomes, are you going to seize the moment and take that chance? Because in another story in my book, I speak about how some chances the window only opens once, and you have to decide if you're going to walk through that window or not.
Yeah. So you mentioned it before, that balancing act between ambition and motherhood. What were some of the difficult sacrifices you found that you had to make that actually taught you about the resilience that resides in you?
Yes. So I can answer that by saying that my book is for the multitaskers, the early morning risers, the late night finishers, mothers who make those meetings in the morning and then read those bed stories at night, right? You rush home so that you can read the bed story. And it's a challenge. But again, we've made the choice. So you do all of what's required to honor your responsibility and duties for the position that you've been entitled to, and being an unapologetic helicopter mom, as I was.
She's telling the truth.
I was a helicopter mom and an attentive wife for as long as I could. And then the worlds collided. And so it's in those moments when, as my mother would say, nobody gets a pass at heartbreak, heartache, curveballs, firestorms. Nobody gets a pass. Nobody gets a pass. But here's what we know, and I quote her often because she was my guidepost in many ways. She reminded me that nothing good or bad lasts forever. So when you find yourself in those firestorms, just do the work. And in one chapter I offer steps that one can take when you have to walk through the fire, because you want to get on the other side of that firestorm and rebuild your life. Going through the firestorm is temporary. Muhammad Ali said, we all are going to get knocked down. No one gets a pass at that. The question becomes, how many times are we going to get up? How many times are we going to get up?
So when you think of the word resilience, what resonates in you when you hear that word resilience in relationship to who you are as a woman today?
I watched a woman lose her husband at age 37. She was left with 7 children to raise. I was the oldest. So I watched her for the rest of my life, never complaining about her commitment to make sure that not 1, not 3, not 5, but all 7 go to college. She worked 3 jobs to send 7 children to college. That's resilience for me in the purest form. And so with that as my model, I was a mother of 1, right? I think I should be able to figure it out. Because I saw a woman at age 37 do it alone with 7. And so that's my example of resilience. So there's no complaining. Don't complain about it. Just be about it. Just be about what's required for this moment in time.
Yeah.
That's what resilience looks like for me.
Yeah. And I think about when we talk about complaining, and you referenced earlier that there's a cost to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost in that complaining, you are adding even more of a deficit to your journey if you are using complaining to try and move you forward. It even magnifies the cost that's associated with being able to navigate both ambition and the balance and the motherhood.
Yes.
And it just creates
it's
more
a stumbling
weight.
block.
Yeah.
It becomes a stumbling block. It becomes a weight on your back.
Yeah.
And when we're mothers, our children are watching us.
Yeah.
They at the moment, in the moment, may never say that they are, but long ways down the line, you will learn and or discover that they're always watching.
Yeah.
And that too motivates us to put one foot in front of the other and just push forward. Now you have to craft several tangible steps, concrete steps that you have to take towards the rebuilding of that episode, because it doesn't happen. It can't be a wish.
Right.
You have to plan
Right.
to rebuild after a dramatic or a heartache kind of episode. And one of the motivators could be colleagues, it could be siblings, it could be your loved one, it could be your spouse, your significant other. And for me, it was my daughter. It was important for my daughter to know that in spite of this career firestorm and in spite of a very painful divorce, that she was still loved by her parents unconditionally, and she was going to be just fine because we both loved her enormously. And even through that, she needed to see that there really is a bright light on the other side.
Yeah. And you continue to stay in touch with who you are.
Yes. Yeah. That's so important that we don't change the core part of us and our character, which is who you're made of.
Yeah.
Right. And typically, adversity and the flip side of adversity is really sometimes discovering or rediscovering what we're made of, because it will reveal a lot of things, right? Humility, for one, empathy for others. And so the flip side of adversity can be a bright side.
Yeah.
If we are still for a moment, because you got to be still.
So many guests have talked about that stillness.
And that's the one thing I had to learn. That's one thing I woke up many mornings in a fetal position.
Yeah.
Knowing that I had to rise, beat my face, get my face ready for the day, put on my suit, take my daughter to school every day in spite of the turmoil that I was walking through, and show up at City Hall ready to work. And I'd love to share this one story.
Yes.
I've been in the paper for many, many weeks. Been in the Enquirer for many days. And I was in the Enquirer the night before, and I was getting the front page story of the Enquirer the morning of.
Yeah.
So I'm taking my daughter to school, and I'm reminding her that, well, Mommy has been in the paper again, and the Enquirer is not being so very, very kind, and you should simply be aware of that. She was in middle school at this time. She never looked up from her homework binder. She never looked up. So as I'm dropping her off for school, she said, Mommy, my friends don't read the Enquirer.
He said, we are okay.
Oh my
We are
gosh.
going to be okay.
What a
Yeah.
relief. What a
Yeah.
woosah moment. Because, for me, my world was really in turmoil. And for Brielle, it was like, I'm just trying to get my homework done and go in and have fun with my friends. Have
Yes.
fun with my friends. So adversity also gives you a perspective. It also offers a perspective that sometimes only reveals itself because of the adversity.
Yes. Yes. So as you've referenced, so politics is often called the bruising arena.
Yes. Brutal.
Brutal bruising arena. What did you actually learn about surviving and thriving in that space, in that arena as a Black woman?
Yes. It is brutal. Facts, as the young people say, 100%.
100%.
It is at times very unforgiving.
Yeah.
Very unforgiving. It's not built, all of us are not built for that arena, which means, again, we have to be mindful and circumspect when we decide to walk in that arena.
Yeah.
And what did I learn while in there? You learn a whole lot once you get in the arena. And when you do good work, word travels fast. When you make a stumble, word travels faster. and so being in that arena as a Black woman, we have to always show up ready, overly prepared, because we have to show up ready and overly prepared.
Yeah.
We have to show up ready and overly prepared because we're going to be challenged at every turn. Even during peaceful times, we're going to be challenged. Electoral politics, in my opinion, was not built for African-American Black women. And for those of us who've chosen to be in that arena, we want to make sure that we are representing who we are, that we are lifting up and advocating for voices who may choose not to be in that arena, because so many people need the work that we do.
Yeah.
So many families are hungry, thriving, and starving for leaders who are going to represent them in a way that advances their circumstance.
Yeah.
And so while in that arena, I discovered that there will be those who take what I call invisible steps backwards, and there will be others that are angels who appear.
Wow.
There were so many angels that appeared, and it gave me hope. They held my hand figuratively and helped me walk through that journey, crafting a new plan, a new team, a new strategy where I could come out of that turmoil and seek and win re-election 4 years later.
Right.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm most thankful for the angels that appeared, that I speak a lot about in my book. What a surprise. And what does that say? Folks are always watching.
Yes.
Folks are always watching. Some for you to see you stumble, and others to see, so what you really made of, right? And for others, an affirmation that's why I'm supporting her anyway.
Yeah.
You see?
They speak to your character. That who you truly are, the core of your character, shows up in adversity.
Yes, it is revealed.
It is revealed. It is revealed. I love that. It is revealed in adversity.
Yes.
And so then people can confirm what they have believed or shift their perspective about what they have believed.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. So it rests with us on how we conduct ourselves during those trying times.
Yeah. So many people have seen those headlines that you have referenced, but haven't always known your heart, known who you are at the core. What's one of the behind the scenes moment from your time in city council that actually shaped you deeply, but may never have made the papers? What was something that shaped you, but didn't necessarily make the headlines?
That is a profound question. So that gives me pause. And I would really have to, while I was in city council, well, you know, it I would say it would be the helicopter mom that I was. If I had to point to something, because I used to say to many, city council is what I do, is not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a mother first, because all of us want to know that we contributed to building a citizen, right?
Right.
A citizen.
Right.
Who has values that are going to uplift who they are, but also the corner of the world that they occupy, right? And so if I had to ID to your question, it would be that I am indeed a helicopter mother. I did it all. I did it all. I did it all. Dance class, choir rehearsal, swim classes. Her father took care of lacrosse lessons in cross country. We did shopping. We do nails together. We teach each other makeup. All of that while she was in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it would be. I was a helicopter mother, in spite of working 9 days a week, 72 hours a day.
Yeah. She says 72 hours a day, y'all, and 9 days a week. That's the tightrope part. No, it's at the tightrope or it's at the back, walking backwards.
Yes.
Like all the things.
Yes.
All the things. So that experience behind the scenes, that being in city council, recognizing that is a component of what you do, but what has shaped you is your motherhood.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it has deepened my awareness and understanding of the depth of love that mothers have for their children. It is just immeasurable, because you're really shaping and building someone, and we're going to measure our success or not sometimes based on what we ultimately find, the fully grown man and woman, young man or young woman.
Because that's connected to legacy, right?
Oh, totally.
What are you hoping your legacy is? Not only for your daughter, but through what you have done
through
on
my
this.
work.
Yes.
Through my work.
What are you hoping your legacy is?
When folks read my story later, they will be convinced that I was and have been sincere about wanting to make a small little difference in the lives of families, but African-American children in particular. And I say that unapologetically because we start in different places, right? And that I helped cultivate, if you will, several young women, but the most notable one is Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson, when she was 15 years old, that she too represents what we want our elected officials to look like, be like, and act like.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Standing in the arena, but remembering why they're there and who they're there for.
Thank you. Amen. Why you were sent there.
Yeah.
And honoring that to the fullest extent of your capability. Never, ever being mediocre. In fact, mediocrity is a sin. Mediocrity is a sin.
Mm-hmm.
If it's worth doing, it's worth doing. Not only is it worth doing now, but it's worth doing well.
Yes.
Because ultimately, that's your fingerprint or the handprint that you leave, right? Mm-hmm. So excellence is. I read 2 books during my career, and one of them was In Search of Excellence.
Yes.
And the other was A Passion for Excellence, both of which I still have that are totally marked up. And I live by it, expected and at times demanded that my team rise to the occasion always, because sometimes your best effort might be a B+. And I'm okay with your best effort being a B+, but make sure it is your best effort.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We just cannot afford to half step. We can never afford to half step because we can never afford to half step.
No, there's too much at stake.
Too much at stake.
Too much at stake. You've talked about the storms that you have had to navigate, and you share that there are some steps in your book that could help someone who finds themselves, they may not find themselves to be councilwoman or councilman at large, but life, as young people would say, life keeps on lifing.
Amen to that.
And those storms are going to happen. And you've identified steps to help people course correct.
Yes.
Could you share a couple of the steps from the book?
Course correct is a great term. Great term. One is to build a new team. Many times we have to say bye-bye so long to the team that got us into that debacle. No, most times we have to say bye-bye so long to those who got us in that debacle. And so building a new team is absolutely essential. And not necessarily a team that includes family and close friends, but a team that brings some skill sets, attributes, and expertise that you're going to need to rebuild.
So I want you to pause because you just laid a whole lot of wisdom down, and I don't want anyone to miss it.
That.
Because what I just heard you say is, although it may be difficult, you have to know when to say goodbye to the people who are either in your inner circle or on your team.
Yes.
When you have outgrown them.
Yes.
It is not that something is necessarily that you want to is wrong with them. It just means that you need a new team.
There you go. To cope with, handle with, walk through this new
right. But so many times people are, if I tell that person, or if I don't keep this person, but you're literally sabotaging your assignment.
Say it again. We're further injuring ourselves.
Yes.
And so that's when honesty and candor, gracefully share, is so important. It's so important. Where we share with those we love, I'm in this awful debacle. Please understand why I have to make some changes and pivots here.
Yes.
Because I think it was Glenn Campbell who said, you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, and when to walk away.
Yes.
And most times you have to know when you have to build a new team.
Yes.
So share with those that you love the why, so that they can understand why you have to move differently. That's number one. Number two, you got to have a plan.
So, but wait,
Please.
With the team part though, the second thing that I heard you share that I think people, I don't want them to miss, is recognizing your team may not be everyone who looks like you or is in your family. You said you have to identify, what is it I need in this season?
In this moment, that's right.
And it's not necessarily that I need my family. I need somebody who has different expertise. And they may not look like me, but they've got to have my principles and my heart.
Values, heart, goal, and agenda all in mind. And we have to be open to wanting to accept and bring in those who may not look like us, definitely don't have the skills that I need. Definitely don't have the skills that I need. I mean, I had already had a campaign lawyer, and I had a divorce lawyer. Now I had to hire a criminal lawyer.
Yes.
And there was no one in my immediate circle that could bring me that skill set. So I had to go outside my immediate circle to find a criminal lawyer to help me get myself through that firestorm. Praise God, I never had to go to 6th and Federal, 6th and Market Street, because she knew what she was doing.
Yes. You pick the right team. Pick the right team with the right skill set. They do not always have to look like you or be in your family. They just have to have the same core principles.
For that season.
Yeah, for that season.
For that season. For that season.
Yes.
Now, it's not forever. It's for this season.
Yeah.
And it was a very dark season for me. And so that building the team, which was, and I had a couple of false starts. I had a couple of people show up who wanted to take on the role of my new treasurer, only to discover that there was no authenticity there at all. I had a couple of false starts. But praise God, a minister reached out to me to ask me if he could help me with my books. Going to the bank and helping me get my records. A minister who wasn't a CPA. How about that?
One of those angels, right?
Yes.
One of those angels
who just shows up. Praise God. Yes. I'm serious. I know this man from the moon. But he knew my story in the paper, and he knew of my work. He just showed up. So he worked with me through that storm, helping me go through all of my bank records and reviewing all of my bank records, not for days or weeks, but for months. We had to clean it all up.
And you also use, I want to get to the steps, but it's like you're just dropping wisdom. So even in the fact, and this is speaking to me in this moment, you called it a false start.
Yes.
Not a failure.
No.
Words are important.
Oh,
Words are important.
You're picking up the nuance Yes.
Words are important. You said false start.
Yes.
Because I think people get paralyzed because what they are calling the situation or the experience that they're in, they get paralyzed in it when instead of talking about it in such a period kind of way of failure, it's a false start. And I'm going to get it because that gives you the open door to restart
Oh,
again.
yes. Oh, yes,
Mm.
yes. Sometimes you have to reboot. It's called reboot for the tech wizards.
Yes.
2 or 3 times
Yeah.
before you get all the gears aligned.
Mm.
For me, it took a couple of false starts before the stars were aligned, where I had a new lawyer, new treasurer, new campaign manager, new fundraising director. I had to build a brand new team.
Yeah. So you, first step you gave us was, and if I can just add on,
Please.
be courageous enough to get a new team. And then you were getting ready to say the plan.
Yeah, I have
Tell
to
us
have a
about
plan.
the plan.
Have to have a plan. Proper planning will always prevent a poor performance, right? It's called the 6 Ps. And so I'm one, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So if you don't have a written plan where there's been some level of collaboration about how we're going to strategize to walk our way out of this storm, then we're blowing in the wind. And so we met on a regular basis and crafted a plan on how we were going to fundraise and pay off the $40,000 in fines first. I was fined more than any other elected official in the city of Philadelphia's history. I also learned, however, that there were men who didn't look like me with far more egregious behavior who were fined less. It goes back, and for me, you go back to that old adage: don't complain about it, just be about it. Because that's the nature of the world we live in. It's not going to change my reality. I still had to raise $40,000 to pay off those fines in the designated time frames, and we did. Have a plan. And then you have to carefully execute the plan. Everybody has a role, checking in weekly or monthly, whatever you decide. There has to be a commitment, right? That we will honor these timelines, because everything's at risk here. Yes. What was at risk for me was whether or not I would be reelected. Yeah. So writing in the plan with everyone contributing, because it's essential to have everyone contributing so you have buy-in. Yes. Everybody brings ideas and a point of view and an experience on how to manage these type of situations. Executing the plan carefully. And then there's a new word. It was new for Blondell. I learned it during this period, called crisis PR.
Yes. Yes.
So I hired a crisis PR manager.
Yes.
Never knew such a thing exists until I was in a crisis, right? And so we did that as well. We hired a crisis PR person. I also reread a couple of books that I read earlier in my career. I sure did. I reread Move Ahead with Possibility Thinking by Reverend Robert Schuller. I read that book right out of graduate school. And it talked about how when the glass is half empty, you always have to see the glass is half full. Yeah. And pursue those dreams. And for me, the dream was to get reelected in spite of my debacle. Yeah. Pursue the dreams anyway. That's a wonderful, and that book is in its 15th edition. I read that book in 1975.
And you're reminding us to go back to the thing that inspired you.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yes, indeed.
To remind you of the inspiration of who you are, to remind you of your why, to remind you of what's possible. Go back to the thing
that started you on your way. And that was one of them.
And get re-inspired.
Indeed so. Indeed so. I reread that book. I reread a book called, let me get it right, How to Make Things Happen. A Christian's Look at Success, Money, and Power. I reread that book. And that book too is just shattered because I've written throughout it and torn up pages and all that kind of stuff. I reread that book as well, and that book had a chapter called "The Aristocracy of Excellence." And it talked about why that matters. It also had a chapter on adversity and losing, and it walks you through people like Abraham Lincoln, who lost many more elections than he ever won. Right, and when he decided to run for the United States president of the United States, that was his biggest election. But suppose he had stopped when he lost the election as a state legislator. In the election, he ran for U.S. Senate and lost, and then he decided to run again and ran for U.S. president, the biggest prize of all. So that book talks about adversity. It talks about how Michael Jordan, he threw a lot of shots, but he lost a lot of shots too. And Babe Ruth hit a lot of balls, but he lost a lot of balls too, right? And how you just have to persist, and here are the rules. The first rule is to never quit.
Well,
and the second rule is to remember the first rule, never quit.
And that this is going to require perseverance.
It's not optional.
If it were easy, everyone would be doing it.
Oh my.
So stop expecting the journey, the assignment that you have been given to be an easy
It's not
one.
a cakewalk.
It's not. It is a tightrope
walk.
Yes.
In high heels. Backwards.
Stop expecting it. And I feel like you're speaking to someone right now in that they are discouraged because of the things that did not go right. And you're challenging them with the success stories of those who have
stuck with it.
Yes.
Stayed in it, right? Be discouraged for that moment. Be discouraged for that evening. Yeah. Cry your eyes out, because that's what we do. And then when you put your feet on the floor the next morning, there's an expression that says, when the woman puts her feet on the floor in the morning, the devil says, "What's up?"
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So sit in it for a minute, only for a night. And let courage be that spirit that whispers, "I'll try again tomorrow."
Yeah.
Right?
And that speaks to the essence of who you are, and this word moxie.
That's a
What is that?
great segue.
What is this?
That's a great segue.
Tell me.
Well, what it is, my mother was from the South, and in the South, my mom used to say, gumption. First of all, we could not sleep late on Saturday mornings. We had to get up. My mother would say, "Get up and act like you got a job." Okay? And on Sunday mornings, we were required to go to church. But she would also say, you need to have the gumption to face every day with whatever it has to offer. And a synonym for gumption is moxie. It's grit. It's that intangible spirit that says, I'm never say die. In fact, that's not in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Can you explain the tension or connection between moxie and grace?
So there you have to find that delicate balance. Moxie and grace is not arrogance. It's not I know it all. It's actually the ability to say, teach me. Teach me. Because I'm a lifelong learner, and I want to learn from this experience so that I never, ever have to I may make a new mistake, but I'll never make that one again. Okay? I'm giving myself one shot to get it right, to learn all I can, because glean from that what I can, and never make that mistake again. And so the delicate balance is the humility and grace to say, you know what, I messed up and I fessed up. That's the other thing. You have to be always prepared to fess up immediately when it happens, because it's going to chase you until you do. All right? And then the moxie to walk through walk through that fire while you're saying and praying every night, Lord, just have mercy on me and allow me to get through this storm.
And that tension is something that's built into your legacy of the celebration of Moxie
Moxie Women.
Women. Can you tell us a little bit about that initiative?
Of course, I'd be happy to. I did that for my 20 years when I was in Philadelphia City Council. For 10 years, we actually, it wasn't an original idea. It was a Congressman Fatah who was already doing Men Making a Difference. And he said, he was a great, great coach. And he said to me the December before I started City Council, you know, Blondell, you're going to need a brand, a signature event. And I'm doing Men Making a Difference. You should probably do Women Making a Difference. And that resonated for me because that preceding spring, a number of African-American women leaders had celebrated my work. And for 10 years, we celebrated women from all walks of life, all professions, corporate to nonprofit, a wonderful, rich, diverse experience. And so after my crisis, I had to push the pause button because the focus had to be to rebuild and rebrand myself. My daughter was then in middle school, and I thought I and my team felt that it was great that we focused on accomplished career women, but we also needed to now think about girls and emerging leaders. And that's when we moved it to the celebration of Moxie Women. Yes. And so we're going to reboot that March 2025. I used the last 4 years to write my book, the 300 pages. And then the last year, my publisher, editor, and I edited the book 13 rounds of 300 pages. That was exhausting.
Yes.
But here we have it.
Here we are. It is here.
Here we have it.
It is here. And tell the people about the launch that is coming up September 17th.
Yes. Thank you so very much. So we are thrilled that we're in the lineup with the Philadelphia Free Library as a part of their author series. And so on Wednesday, September the 17th, Wednesday, September 17, the 17th, 2025, all of those who are interested in writing and literature and women and firestorms and careers and electoral politics are going to gather at the Philadelphia Free Library main branch. 6:15, the doors will open. 7 o'clock, Councilwoman Gilmore Richardson will say, hello, thank you for being here. And Tamla Edwards, serving as our moderator, Tamla Edwards of 6ABC, will kick off the evening posing lots of questions, much like these, about my experience. And then afterwards, there'll be a book signing. So we are excited to be at the Philadelphia Free Library on Wednesday the 17th, main branch.
Fantastic. I am so excited for you.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is a huge accomplishment. And especially when such a rich legacy is now captured within the pages for now someone will reach for this book to remind them of their inspiration when they
and what's
are going
possible.
through. Yes.
What's possible. What's possible.
So I want you to share, and I often ask my guests to envision someone who has by chance come across this conversation. And I'd like for you to think of a Black woman today who feels like she's on that tightrope, and she may even be feeling paralyzed or stuck there. What is something you want to say to her that encourages her to just take the next step?
Well, faith is the evidence of things hoped for, but the presence of that which isn't seen. That grounded me. That grounded me. My faith was restored but more importantly, re-anchored. I was woefully reminded that you are not in this alone, and that everybody gets their shot. Everybody gets their chance. God he does not pass over anyone when it comes to adversity and challenges. And tag you're it. Tag you're it. And so seize the moment and show yourself, not just the world, not just your family, not just those you're watching, but seize the moment to show you that you got the right stuff to rise above this, whatever it is. You have it within you, the right stuff. The tools are there. Just give yourself a chance. Weep for a moment, but when you lay down tonight, when you know that when you put your feet on the floor tomorrow, you're going to take a and it's very incremental changes. The changes are not going to happen overnight. Life is not that way. It didn't take us overnight to get to this place, and we're going to have to crawl ourselves one step at a time. But progress is incremental.
Yeah.
It's incremental. So like everything else, we have to stick with it and be about it every day, much like a laser beam. Put everything else on the shelf, because right now your survival, your sanity is at risk. And actually we owe it to ourselves to give us the time and space to restore our spirit.
Yeah. So giving ourselves the grace to be able to recognize how we're feeling, giving ourselves that grace and that space, but continuing to believe.
Yes.
And hold on to hope.
Oh, you have to.
Because you said, tag, you're it.
We all get a shot. No one gets a pass. No one gets a pass. No one gets a pass.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for the work, for being a beacon of light and representation for those of us who are still trying to find our way, but we're using you as a guide point.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you for weathering the storm. Thank you for course correcting.
Yes. Yeah. And I will say to those women who are at a blurry space in their lives, be encouraged. Be encouraged, because there are others rooting for you, right? So be encouraged.
And can I lean into that?
Please.
Because I also want to encourage women to find your cheerleaders, because everyone isn't going to necessarily cheer for you. So sometimes you may have to find your cheerleaders.
Yes. Everyone isn't going to want to experience your glory.
No.
And so in that as well, you may have a few false starts, but you don't become discouraged. In fact, be content that you discovered that false start wasn't a healthy one. Right? We don't all get it right on the first try. So they give ball players 3 strikes before they're out, right? Right?
Yes.
So give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace.
So if people want to follow you, buy the book,
yes,
where can they get it?
So I'm hopeful you've been inspired by my story and the stories behind the pages. If you want to learn more, you can please be encouraged to go to my website, and it is as follows. Do you have a pen and pencil? www.moxie, MOXIEBRB.com. Allow me to repeat that. www.moxiebrb.com. And of course, I am on Facebook, Blondell Reynolds-Brown, or as the young people say, you can hit me up on Instagram. Okay.
What an inspiring conversation with Blondell Reynolds-Brown, reminding us that walking the tightrope with moxie and grace is possible even in the fiercest of storms. And guess what? You don't just have to hear her story today. You can actually meet Blondell in person along with more than 40 other powerful authors who are walking boldly and telling their truth. But you got to join us on Saturday, September 20th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at LitCon Philly 2025. We're going to be at the Great Hall at the Community College of Philadelphia. Come for the stories, Stay for the inspiration and leave with the courage to write your own next chapter. We'll see you there. Use the QR code on the screen to register. And guess what? It is all free. I can't wait to see you there.